Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We continue our chapter 7 endocrine system. At the end of the topic, you should be able to discuss different forms of signaling, explain the chemical classes of hormones and the mechanism of hormone action, summarize the site of production, regulation, and effects of the hormone of the pituitary, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal, and pineal glands, and discuss the hormonal regulation of the reproductive system. For the introduction, what is hormone? Hormones are chemical signals that are secreted into the circulatory system and communicate regulatory message within the body. So these hormones, they will reach all part of the body, but only target cells that have receptor to receive the hormone. So animals have two systems of internal communication and regulation, the nervous system and the endocrine system. And the hypothalamus, which is located in the middle of your brain, it plays a central role to integrate between the nervous system and endocrine system. Okay, let's see the human endocrine glands and their functions. The listed are considered as the major glands in human. Okay, so we have hypothalamus and pituitary glands. Hypothalamus is the brain region that controls the pituitary gland, and this pituitary gland is quite a major gland that secretes many different hormones, and some of the glands are rely on the pituitary gland. Okay, now let's see the thyroid gland, which affect the metabolism among other things. And we have parathyroid, which help to regulate the level of calcium in the blood. And we have testes for male, which secrete the male sex hormone. And we also have adrenal glands, which located on top of the kidney. So this adrenal gland help trigger the fight or flight response. So this fight or flight response is involuntary action. And the pancreas, which is the largest endocrine glands in human, it regulates the level of sugar in the blood. And the last is ovary in female, which secrete female sex hormone. The nervous system conveys high-speed electrical signals along the neuron. Meanwhile, the endocrine system, it secretes hormone that coordinate slower, but the response is longer. So we have two division here that is belong to autonomic nervous system. Autonomic nervous system is related to any involuntary action in our body. Involuntary action meaning that you cannot control that action. So we have parasympathetic division and sympathetic division. Parasympathetic division, also known as rest and digest. Meanwhile, sympathetic division, also known as fight or flight. Okay, fight or flight. So let's see for rest and digest action. The example of action like constrict pupils, stimulate tear glands, strong stimulation of salivary flow, inhibit the heart, dilates arteriole, constrict the bronchi, stimulate stomach motility and secretion, and stimulate the pancreas, stimulate intestinal motility, contracts the bladder, stimulate erection. For fight or flight activity, the examples are dilates pupil, no effects on tear glands, weak stimulation of salivary flow, accelerate heart constrict arterioles, dilates the bronchi, inhibit stomach motility and secretion, inhibit pancreas and adrenals, inhibit intestinal motility, relax the bladder and stimulate ejaculation. So that are the example both division. So how it goes, how the process started. So firstly, the hormone secreted into extracellular fluids. So this is the endocrine cell. Okay. So this endocrine cell, it will release signal molecule. This signal molecule, or also called hormones, will be secreted into circulatory system, or also known as bloodstream, until it reach to the target cell. Okay, so the target cell, for example, the target cells are pancreas or thyroid gland. So the target cell, when the hormone reach the target cell, then the target cell will secrete what they need to secrete. Okay, some endocrine cells are found in organs and tissues, for example, stomach and kidney. And the other are grouped in ductless organ. Ductless organs such as pancreas, thyroid, ovary, or testes. And they are called endocrine glands. So these are the general functions of hormone. Okay. If the question asks what are the importance of hormone, what are the functions of hormone, you can answer by listing this. Hormone help to regulate extracellular fluid, regulate the metabolism or body metabolism, control the biological clock or the timing of sleeping, control the contraction of cardiac and smooth muscle, regulate the glandular secretion, and have regulation on some immune function, also function in growth and development. So these are the examples of the importance of hormones. So overlap between endocrine and nervous regulation. What is the meaning by overlap? Overlap means these two systems, the endocrine system and nervous system, they work together to perform the best. For example, these two systems, they function together to maintain the homeostasis and for the development and also for reproduction. Okay, let's see the picture of A. Okay, what is A? A is a nerve signals, okay, which are translated into neurohormone. So this neurohormone, from the word neuro, we know that it came from the nervous system. Okay, so the nerve signals, when it reach the nerve, okay, the signal, when it reach to the nerve signal, it will produce the neurohormones. So this neurohormone will diffuse in to the bloodstream. So this is the bloodstream until it reach the target cell. Okay, the target cell, okay, on the membrane of the target cell there will be a receptor. Okay, so this receptor will accept or will receive to the neurohormone, and then this target cell will release or do another action. Either they secrete hormone or either it secrete other chemical messenger. Okay, so neurohormone which enter the circulation at the neurohormone organ, reaching target cell via the bloodstream. And for B, release of neurohormone close to target cell without intervention of bloodstream. So there are two ways of regulation, either through the bloodstream or not involve the intervention of the bloodstream, but the signal just pass through to the target tissue. So let's see the description below. The specialized nerve cell known as neurosecretory cell, it releases neurohormone into the blood. So this is the neurosecretory cells. Okay. It releases neurohormone. So both endocrine hormone and neurohormones, they function as long-distance regulators of many physiological processes. So as we know previously, we only know on endocrine hormones that is secreted by endocrine glands or endocrine organs such as stomach and kidney. But the nervous system also involved in hormone regulation by having neurosecretory cells that will release the neurohormone. So now we have two sources that can release hormones. Okay, the first one is endocrine hormones. The second is neurohormones, which is secreted by the neurosecretory cells. Okay, let's see the pathway and the feedback loops for each example, for each types. Okay, there are three types of hormonal control. The first one is simple endocrine pathway. So this is start from the stimulus. Okay, stimulus normally detect by receptor in our body. For example, low blood glucose. So there is a glucose regulator in our body that will detect either the blood glucose is rises or drop in blood glucose level. So this stimulus, they will produce chemical messenger, and that chemical messenger will detect by the endocrine cell. Okay, what happened next? This endocrine cell will release hormones into the blood vessel, and then they go to the target effector or the target organs. For example, in this case, when there is a low blood glucose level, the chemical messenger will go to the endocrine cell, which is pancreas, and then pancreas will secrete glucagon hormone. This glucagon hormone will be transferred into the bloodstream until it reach to the liver, which is its target effector. So what will the liver do? Liver will cause the glycogen breakdown and the glucose will release into the blood. So this is a simple endocrine pathway. The second is simple neurohormone pathway. It started with the stimulus, and the stimulus will release chemical messenger to the hypothalamus or the posterior pituitary gland. So in here, the neurosecretory cell will secrete the hormone or the secreting cells. Okay, they will produce the hormones of the chemical messenger into the bloodstream. Later, this hormone will go to the target effector and produce response. Let's see the example of the simple neurohormone pathway. It started by the action of suckling. For example, this referring to the babies who suck the mother's milk. So from the activity of suckling, the signal is transferred. Okay, the activity of suckling, it produce signal. That signal will go to the hypothalamus and posterior pituitary gland, and it generate the neurosecretory cell to produce hormone. So what happened? The posterior pituitary gland will secrete the hormone oxytocin, and this hormone will transfer into the bloodstream. What happened next? This hormone will go to the target effector, which is the smooth muscle in the breast, and trigger the milk release. Okay, so that is the difference between simple endocrine pathway, which only involve the endocrine glands, and the simple neurohormone pathway, which involve the neurosecretory cells. Next, we go into the simple neuroendocrine pathway. From the word neuroendocrine, we know it involves both of the nervous system and endocrine system. Okay, it starts from the stimulus as previous. Same with the two others. Okay, so this stimulus, they will generate the chemical messenger and detect by the sensory neuron. Okay, so the sensory neuron in the hypothalamus, okay, will generate the neurosecretory cell to produce hormone. This hormone will transfer into the bloodstream, and then it will detect by the endocrine cell. This endocrine cell will release the hormone, go into the bloodstream again, and go to the target effectors, and then produce a response. So these two, if you can see, there are 2 times the hormone enter the bloodstream. So let's see the example. The hypothalamic neurohormone release in response to neural and hormonal signals. Okay, the hypothalamus secretes prolactin releasing hormone, and the anterior pituitary secretes prolactin, and then it will trigger the mammary glands to produce milk production. So this is also for milk production for babies. Okay, so they involve 2 stimulus. Okay, 2 action. One by the neurosecretory cell, which produce prolactin, and then by the anterior pituitary. Okay, there are two times, okay, of the hormone producing and releasing into the bloodstream. Okay, intercellular communication. The ways that signals are transmitted between animal cells are classified by 2 criteria: the type of secreting cells and the route taken by the signal in reaching its target. So if we can see previously, we know there are 2 types of secreting cells. One by endocrine cell, another by neurosecretory cells. And the route taken also different. So there are 5 forms of signaling. We have endocrine signaling, paracrine signaling, autocrine signaling, synaptic signaling, and neuroendocrine signaling. So you must remember these 5 forms of signaling. Okay, let's see the first one, endocrine signaling. The hormones secreted into extracellular fluids by the endocrine cells reach their target via the bloodstream, or the hemolymph for insect. So the endocrine signaling, the function is to maintain homeostasis, response to stimuli, regulate growth and development. So this, how this happen, endocrine signaling, the hormones secreted into extracellular fluid by endocrine cells. Later, it reached their targets through the bloodstream, and then they produce response. So this is you can refer to the simple endocrine signaling. And for paracrine signaling, so this is paracrine, the local regulators or the chemical messenger are molecules that act over short distance, reaching target cells solely by diffusion. So these two, paracrine and autocrine signaling, they involve short distance, okay, short distance activity. For example, cytokines that enable communication between immune cells. So let's see the paracrine. What happened? The target cells lie near the secreting cells. So this is chemical messenger. So this is target cell, which is live near to the secreting cells. So this is the secreting cells. And for autocrine secretion, the target cells is also the secreting cell. Okay, so that is the meaning by local regulators are molecules that act over short distance. So the distance between target cell and secreting cells are very near, and the action only happen by diffusion. Okay, no need the involvement of bloodstream. Okay, so this is the example in terms of diagram. Oops. Alright. Okay, let's see the for endocrine signaling. What happened? The secreted molecule diffuse into the bloodstream and trigger response in target cell anywhere in the body. So this is the hormone that is secreted into the blood vessel, and this hormone later will go to the target cells. Okay, and for paracrine signaling, its secreted molecules diffuse locally and trigger a response in neighboring cells. So the secreting cell is very near to the target cell. Okay, and no need the bloodstream. So the chemical messenger will diffuse. For autocrine signaling, the target cell is actually the secreting cell. So the chemical messenger that is released by the target cell will go to the same cell, okay, to proceed with further action. Okay, now we go into synaptic signaling. In synaptic signaling, neurons form specialized junction with target cells called synapse. So this is what we have learned in previous lecture. Okay, the neurons from one neuron. Okay, this is neuron. This is the dendrite. Okay, and then this is target cells. Sorry. This is the synapse. Okay, and then target cells. Okay, so in synaptic signaling, neurons form specialized junction with target cells called synapse. So the action happen in the synapse. At synapse, neurons secrete molecule called neurotransmitter that diffuse short distance and bind to receptor on the target cells. In neuron endocrine signaling, okay, the last signaling form, specialized neurosecretory cells secrete molecule called neurohormones that travel to target cell via the bloodstream. So remember, in neuroendocrine, they involve the neurosecretory cells in the hypothalamus or posterior pituitary. Okay, and these cells will secrete neurohormones, and these hormones will release into the bloodstream. Okay, that is the chronology or the order of the process. Okay, so these are the example in terms of diagram. Okay, for synaptic signaling, so this is a neuron. Okay, this is the cavity between neuron and the target cells. Okay, so this cavity we known as synapse. Okay, is known as synapse, where the neurotransmitter from the neuron will be transferred, okay, or diffused to the receptor on the target cell. Okay, and then they perform response. But for neuroendocrine signaling, so this is a neurosecretory cell which release neurohormone into the bloodstream, and this hormone will diffuse out and look for the receptor on the target cell, and then they produce response. So that is the difference between 5 forms of the signaling process which involve in our regulation of endocrine system and nervous system. Okay, the last signaling is by pheromones. I know that you have heard on pheromones. So these pheromones is actually an odor, okay, odor or taste that is emitted, okay, from particular animal species. So this chemical we call pheromones. Okay, so this pheromone is very common among mammals and insects when they are going to mate, okay, to do reproductive behavior. Okay, pheromone. Even human also have pheromones. So the example of animals that have pheromones like cats, deer, and many others mammals. Okay, endocrine tissue and organs. Some endocrine system cells are found in organs. In some tissues, endocrine cells are grouped together in ductless organ called endocrine glands. The glands secrete hormone directly into surrounding fluids. This contrasts with exocrine glands, which have ducts. The glands secrete substances onto body surfaces or into cavities. So on this slide, it explains on the endocrine cells, okay, that is found in the organ, okay, and some of the endocrine cells belongs to endocrine gland. They have their own glands, and some not having glands, but they can be found in certain organs such as stomach and kidney. And there are also exocrine glands which have ducts. Okay, so these are the major endocrine glands in our body: hypothalamus, pineal gland, pituitary gland. Please remember the location of each gland. The pituitary gland, the thyroid gland here, and the parathyroid, which is under the thyroid gland. We have adrenal gland, which located on top of our kidney. The pancreas, which located below our stomach at the back, and the ovaries, okay, and the testes. And these are the organs containing endocrine cells. So this, for this example, okay, they don't have glands, but they form in the form of cells. Okay, so the example of endocrine cells like thymus, the heart, the liver. So these endocrine cells located in the thymus, in the heart, in the liver organ, in the stomach, in the kidney, and small intestine. So for this diagram, I think you can read by yourself. Just highlight on the glands and the hormone it releases and what are the actions taken by each gland. Okay, so this one I hope you can read by yourself from the lecture notes given. Same goes with this. So this is a continuation of the major human endocrine glands and some of their hormones. So these are very important for you to remember. Please remember some of the major hormones. For example, oxytocin. Okay, what are hormones secreted by thyroid gland, pancreas. Okay. Okay. So we will continue on chemical classes of hormone for the next lecture.